Hello investors, welcome to Kruse Asset Management's video chart of the day. I'm Stuart Kruse, and today we're going to be talking about country performance relative to the worst coronavirus cases. So here we have the United States. We're clearly the leader in the world's coronavirus cases right now, and we are currently flat on the year as far as year-to-date performance. And I'm going to just bring up a chart of the global coronavirus cases. We have about 16 million. The United States has about a quarter of that. Brazil's about half of that. India's about half of that. Russia's about a little bit more, 60% of that. And then South Africa is in number 5. So let's take a look at how these countries have fared relative to the coronavirus. And you can see a clear pattern, a peak around February 19th or 20th, a bottom March 23rd, and then a rise up. And so if we throw in Brazil into the mix, Brazil sold off with the United States, sold off tremendously amount more, 50%, and then is still down 30% year to date. And if we had India didn't sell off nearly as much as Brazil did, but still is negative year to date. Brazil was a little bit later in the coronavirus cases. They took them a little while for them to actually catch up to the rest of the world, but they're number 3 right now. Here we are at Russia's number 4. They're also down 15% year to date with a very similar pattern. And throwing in South Africa, down 18%. And all of them have followed this kind of steep sell-off during the lockdown, and then as the economy gets back to work, then you see a recovery. But if you notice, all the other economies are negative, where the United States is at least flat on the year. Now, if we throw in China, where this started, China is also down. And while it didn't follow the same sell-off, it also didn't see the big rebound. As a matter of fact, it's lagged the United States for most of the period of the recovery. And we're going to look at coronavirus. China was, I think, number 26 here on the coronavirus cases. And if you look at their chart, of course, they zoomed up, unlike the United States, which is accelerating here, and they flatlined. So the number of new cases has been negligible, and yet the market has not recovered in China at all. And so when we're looking at the rest of the world, we're showing the rest of the world with these high level of cases is severely negative. And then I also wanted to include a country that was very controversial in their lockdown policies, Sweden. Now, Sweden decided to have a lot less social distancing requirements, a lot less stringent requirements from the government. And as we see, Sweden is one of the only countries that is actually positive year to date. Now, Sweden always gets compared to their neighborhood Norway. So let's clean up this chart a little bit. So Sweden is positive ahead of the United States. And we're going to clean up the chart here, and we're just going to show the United States versus Sweden. Sweden is now in orange. And so had a big sell-off, but it looks like it's recovered faster. And Norway always gets compared to Sweden because Norway and Sweden are neighbors. But Norway sold off far greater than Sweden did and hasn't recovered nearly as much. Now, one might argue that the market thinks that looking forward 6 to 9 months, that perhaps, in spite of what your political beliefs are, and I'm not here to make a political statement, that Sweden and the United States have handled this, and I'm going to put handled in quotes, where Sweden probably did this much more proactively and the United States did this much more reactively, handled the coronavirus cases better, meaning that we're farther along in the long-term I'll go with digestion of the coronavirus in the United States and in Sweden, meaning maybe we're closer to herd immunity, and therefore our economy is a lot closer to getting back on track than some of the other economies that are out there. So here we are. Again, not meant to be a political statement, just I found this fascinating, that Sweden is the only one with a positive return. The United States, arguably the worst handling of the coronavirus cases, is flat, and the rest of the countries are negative. So this is Stuart Kruse with Kruse Asset Management with your chart of the day. And don't forget to invest with the odds in your favor.